Rita from Miss Rita to the rescue here for today's Cricut Chat. I hope that we can get some folks on this morning. Yep, already. I see some people. Good morning. Good morning. And let's see. I'm going to try to adjust the lighting here a little bit. Should have done that before. Hi. Good morning. Hi, Gail. Hi, Gloria. Renee. Hi, Elizabeth. Melissa. Nice to see you, Melissa. Shirley, how are you? You're just going to watch today. All right. I'm glad you did okay. I'm glad you're home. Let's see who else is here. So I hope you're not in a lot of pain or anything. Thanks, Loretta. Thank you. Okay. Let's see who else is here. Leilani's here. Louise, Leslie, Loretta. I'm very glad you're here. I like Holly Jolly. I know. Well, you know what? I probably in the back of my head thought I need to make this for Shirley. And in fact, I will have an extra one. So let's give that to Shirley. Okay. I will have an extra one of these. So today we're going to do another banner. Another banner that I found. There's so many banners in Design Space. It's so great. And that doesn't even include all the banners that like the other one that we did. This one is actually a banner. I didn't have to build around it. And each letter, I'm going to show you each letter here. So see this one's it's got these little doohickeys, which I haven't decided if I like it or not. So I changed the actual letter. The letter that I first made had instead of it being silver, it had like they wanted you to cut it out in white with a pen marking. Only I didn't like because it looked so light. Like right here, there's a pen, and it looks really light. So I decided, the heck with that. I'm going to use iron on for this, and I'm going to show you how I did it. And you, of course, can get this in your Design Space community. I'm just going to show you really quickly. What do you got? What do you got? What do you got? No. Ugh. I got something that I only paid $1 for, so I don't feel so bad about it. Okay, so let me show you where to get these. I'm just going to save it and show you where. All right, so let me just grab these also, and we'll group them, and I will hide them. Okay, so we're going to go to images, and we're going to go to image sets. Now, I hear that they're going to stop putting so much focus on image sets. Yikes! But they tell me that something even better is coming. So we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, we're going to image sets, and we're going to type in banner. And there are 56 different banners, and I believe almost every single one of them are part of Cricut Access. Have I told you about Cricut Access lately? It's a really good program, and I think that you would love it. And by the way, if you or someone is buying a Cricut for Christmas as a gift, I would suggest before you make that purchase that you at least sign up for 1 month of Cricut Access. Now, um, Design Space is free. Cricut Access costs money, but it's so worth it. In addition to all of these images, look at all these A's. That means this is free to you. So you can go shopping in the Cricut Design Space app. You do not need to go all out, go to Etsy, go to Google, purchase or download from another site. You don't have to do that. They've created in here a place that it's pretty much unlimited what you can do. And there's images like this, there's fonts, and there are projects, plus there's a lot of uh ideas, and they also have now the community, which it's free. Community is free, but the people that are sharing projects from the community are sharing Cricut Access images, so it kind of makes sense if you're going to be cutting a lot to do it. Plus, you get discount. So the reason why I tell you buy a 1 month subscription is you'll get a 10% discount on anything, any machines, anything. Or but a machine. So let's say you buy your husband or your wife a you want to buy them a brand new Cricut Maker 3 bundle, which is like four uh, on sale. It's like $400 or something. You'll get an additional 10% off that sale price. It's not like, oh, you get 10% off of regular prices. No, it's on the sale price. Anyway, so here is where we find the Christmas holly banner right here. And we just go in, and I decided that I was going to do two different things. I decided to do Noel and holly jolly. So I think what I'll do, and what I found out was I took the wrong O. So this one is the O for the letter O, and this is the O meaning zero, and I chose the wrong one. So let's just pick Joy, Joy. We're gonna put together the other one, but I wanted something a little bit smaller. Where's the Y? I wish they could put these in order. Come on. Put these in alphabetical order. Why does it show up like this? Oh, the humanity. Where's the Y? I got J-O and I got V here. Why am I not seeing the Y? What are we going to have? Joe? No, I don't think so. We're going to do ho, ho, ho. Let's do that. Oh, there's the Y. Duh. Okay, Rita. All right. So we're going to have Joy. All right. So, going to click on all three of those. Did you happen to catch that there was a price next to each one of $1.99? So if you were not a Cricut Access subscriber, you would, if you wanted to type Joy, you would have to buy these individually. Now, once you buy them, they're yours, you own them, so you can do whatever you want. But yeah, it's next to the P. Thank you, guys. You're telling me about the Y. It's next to the P. But it should be alphabetical, shouldn't it? Right? And I not right. It should be alphabetical. Anyway, so let's have a look at each of these letters. So the joy. What's really nice about this banner is that there's a lot of writing involved. So if you like your pens, you can do it just exactly the way it is. But look at this. This I found really interesting. So here, come on, Jay. Come on, Jay, move over. So here's uh the second piece. This is the bottom. The red's the bottom. You see? And it only needs to be striped along the edges. So fun. And then there is the cover. So the letter, like I said, is just like got this straight line. Now there's some writing along here which I think looks fabulous. So I'm going to keep that. I haven't decided about these little bits. I cut them all out. But then I decided on the letter that I don't want that writing. So what I'm going to do is it's not grouped, it's attached. So we need to come down here. You can't see my hand. Wait, where are you going? What are you doing? Hello? Oh, you know what? I never have to worry about like, oh, I have to throw this away because it's ruined or it's past season. Because my dogs find everything and they eat them. So anyway, so you see here, you've got the line on there. So you want to come down here to the bottom right and hit detach. Okay. So you've detached this writing and see it's right there. You can just go ahead and delete it. And now I'm going to change the color of the letter because when I go to make this, I don't want it to think that I'm just cutting it out in white and it's colored white. So that's why I changed the color. So I'm going to change it to gray to denote silver like that. And I'm going to do the same thing with all three of these letters. So I got to ungroup and here we go. I'm going to do this for all three of the letters so you can see. And detach, right? Once you detach, take away this and change the letter color to gray. Okay. And one more that we'll do. Ungroup, remove these little doohickey things. Just put them to the side, really. Then detach. And once you detach, take away that and change the letter color to silver. Now, because we're doing iron on for the letters, we're going to have to remember to flip these or mirror them. Okay. So I wanted to show you how to do that just in case if you want to do it. Now, clearly you do not need to do what I did, which is I used iron on. You could use vinyl. You could use paper. You could leave the letters. That's what makes us all special. Is that we have our own creativity and we are able to contribute it to this, and everybody's different, so no two project comes out exactly the same. I've seen that time and time again when working with the Cricut. All right, so let's have a look at what we got. So the white has pen on it here. And then here's another one, which we could probably move over here, but I kind of don't even want to start fiddling with that. But let's try it just for giggles. Let's try it this way and see if it fits. Yeah, it fits. Okay. So now I just eliminated one of the 9 mats. Okay. Now here are my letters. I'm going to do mirror on this. Okay, just like that. And because I'm using smart material, so I have this smart iron on that I bought at Joann's on sale. And this is great stuff. So I wanted to show you how to cut out the joy. Anyway, so here we go. Let's hit without mat because we need to use smart materials. That's what you do when you have smart materials and either Explore 3 or Maker 3. Don't forget about the Explore 3. It's a really great machine. The only thing that's different is the adjustable tools. Okay, so now that I'm here on the cutting side, I'm going to go to browse all materials. I have that mat selected, by the way. I'm going to choose smart iron on glitter, and I am going to add more pressure. I just like to do that. Now I have my piece of iron on that is off of that roll. It was just extra and I put it on the inside. So I'm going to show you. The thing I do not like about, I love everything about glitter, but the thing I do not like about glitter iron on from Cricut or anywhere else is that putting it on the mat is so difficult, right? So the thing I love about this stuff is that it's smart material, requires no mat at all. So let's go ahead and put it in. Remember yesterday when I told you gotta trim it you gotta trim it up straight? Well, this one's not trimmed up straight, and I suppose I should take out my personal cutter, but I don't want to, I don't want to bother with that right now. So hopefully that's straighter than it was. And then we're going to hit load. We already have our material set. So we're going to just hit the go button when it starts to blink. And there we go. So much easier than putting it on a mat and then taping it to the mat because you're afraid it's going to lift up and all of that. And do I have a strong enough mat? And it kind of eliminates that. The only thing about this system that is a downfall for me is that they don't have enough materials. I remember hearing Christiana saying, they just don't have all the materials I want. And that is the truth. With smart materials, they just have basic colors. So they have silver, gold. I mean, this for glitter, silver, gold, black, white, red. They do have red, which is kind of cool. All right, so you can't hardly see it, but there is my joy. If I put it with the light like that, there's my joy. So I'm just gonna cut it like this. Now I know that at the end here I'm going to have a little extra. So remember, you can only put it in if it's straight across. So this little extra I'm going to put in my extras file. And now I'm going to get my this is my weeding tool. I got to tell you, the kids on Saturday were so like jazzed about the weeding tool. What is it that you're doing? Because I ran out of time, and so for my project, I basically I just cut out a bunch of words like joy and um, jingle bells. I think I cut out peace. But I didn't do love. And so the kids were like, "Where's love?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, that's so cute." But yeah, I didn't do love. But next time I'm going to do something uh, similar, but with pre-planning, because I only have to make those signs. I finished the signs. Did I even take a picture of the signs? They look really, really good. All right, so here you go. Clearly, when you turn it this way, because it's mirrored, this is the way that we're going to adhere it. Now we're going to use the Cricut Easy Press Mini for this. I love this little thing. It's so wonderful. And as we did yesterday, we're going to put this on, I think we're going to put this on medium, but let's check, shall we? Let's go and check. So here we are, and we're gonna go to look at guinea pig Cricut Heat Guide. I have it bookmarked. And here it is. We're going to choose Easy Press. The heat transfer material is foil glitter. So let's see. Oh, it's smart. So it's a smart iron on glitter. Okay. And then we'll choose cardstock and hit apply. Low at 25 seconds. Now, yesterday when we did this, I think I didn't use the smart iron on. We just used glitter iron on, and we chose cardstock, and see what it says. Low. Why did I think it was supposed to be on two? I don't know. I might be losing it. All right, you guys. So let's put this together. And then we're going to string it up with this. This is silver twine. Now, why did I choose silver? Because I didn't have any gold left. So there you go. I'm going to turn this on low. And so because I only had silver, I'm waiting for my gold to come back in stock in my studio. I decided to do silver. I know it's not as traditional as the gold, but I kind of like it, and it looks different enough. The paper itself is from the Cricut paper pack called Holiday, which I think is now out of stock. So if you were one of the people that grabbed these, then you certainly could use, what am I trying to say? You certainly could use that for this. And then also I decided for this second one, the one that's going to go to Shirley, because I was using the silver, I made the writing, all the writing on all the little pieces silver. Okay, because I just kind of wanted them to all look the same. So this is our cutout that we're working on. Let me just move this out of the way right now. So the way that it works is we're going to tape or glue these pieces together like this. Isn't that cute? So we'll handle that. But before we do that, we're going to apply our letters to the paper. And if you've never seen this done, it's really fun, and I really, really like doing it. It's so much more fun even than when you do vinyl. So I think a lot of people, when they're like, oh, you can iron on paper. Yeah, you absolutely can. 100%. It looks great. So I'm just going to line up my letter. I'm using this part here as a guide to be the middle. And sometimes you have to hold it up a little bit to kind of. Now there's a little tiny bit of stick on this, so it would sort of hold it in place, so you don't have to like tape it or anything. But I'm deciding that I'm going to put it about here, the top, and then here is where the middle of the banner is. And then I'm going to do low for 25 seconds. But remember, this is small, so if you're not covering it entirely for the 25 seconds, which you shouldn't be, you're going to have to move it around, and don't be so rigid about the time because you might need a little bit extra. So this is how I did it yesterday. I just did one after the other before I even started putting the thing together. So here we go. Second, this is really a 0, but I took it as an O. It looks like an O. So, um, but imagine if somebody was having a birthday at Christmas time. This would be a perfect banner for that because it's festive, but you could do like a happy birthday type of thing, um, or not. It depends on how that person feels about. So my dad's birthday was December 18th, and there's a beautiful story about how when he was born, my grandmother was a saint. I mean, just she was so good, such a good person, and she lost her son before my father died. It's kind of sad, but it's a beautiful story. So she lost her son. Now she was the kind of woman that always went to church every day. She was from Gaeta, Italy, and so was my grandfather. My grandfather came to the States earlier when he was young, and then he went back on a vacation to his hometown of Gaeta, which is really just a small, near Rome little place. And he fell in love with my grandmother. I heard this story. I didn't know about how they met, but from what I understand from my cousin, is that they met at a beach because Gaeta is along the ocean. They met at a beach during a summer thing. My grandmother was there and he couldn't take his eyes off of her, and then they got married there, and he brought her back to the States with her. And my grandfather had already learned English, but my grandmother had only learned her native language, which was Italian. And so it was very hard for her because in those days, women didn't work outside of the home. So she was making a home um, for her. Eventually, actually, she had 5 kids, but one of them, so she had 3 daughters all in a row: Mary, Anna, and Elisa. The only one that's still alive is Elisa. That's the one that I saw last week. And then she had a boy named Salvatore. Salvatore, she named him. But he was born with a birth defect. He had, like, I don't know what they call it in real life, but he had like a withered arm. His right arm was withered. And so they were always taking him to the hospital. They settled in Somerville. That's where I'm from. Somerville, Massachusetts. And they lived near the McGrath Highway, if anybody knows the area. Anyway, my grandmother went to church every day, every morning after the kids were off. She went to church, and she couldn't drive, so she walked there. And every morning she went there, and life went on. Well, when and my father wasn't even born yet, but when her friend from Gaeta had a baby, she decided that she was going to take my Salvi, who was in school. I don't know if it was a Saturday or something. No, it wasn't a Saturday because my grandfather was working. Anyway, they decided they were going to go over Broadway, which is, a main street in Somerville. It still is. And they visited the baby, and then they were walking back. And when they were walking back, they were in the middle of the sidewalk. Like on main streets, they have like a median strip. Um, so they were doing that, and it was cold. It was, I don't know if it was November or December. I think it was December. It was cold, and back in the day, um, boys' coats they were fancy. They were the wool coats with the belts that hang off, and then also in the back, the belts are actually sewn in or buttoned in or something like that. And back in the day, so my uncle, really he's my uncle, he stepped out into the street, and a truck, which at that time had these really weird bumpers that came out, and it was kind of like a UPS truck. I don't want to say UPS like it's UPS, but it was called Hood Rubber Plant. And it it got caught on my uncle's coat strings, right? And then it dragged him across Broadway. And his head was back. Actually, he was alive, but of course my grandmother didn't speak any English yet, or very barely. She didn't drive. She didn't know what to do. Her husband's at work. So back in the day, they didn't have ambulances like we do. And somebody came along with their car, put him in the car, and left my grandmother there, to walk home with her daughter Anna. Which isn't this a terrible story, but it's going to be so sad. So yeah, it's a really sad story, but it's happy too, because he eventually died, and my grandmother being so spiritual, she she was devastated that he died. And in fact, my grandfather put the girls on watch, so that then when they would go to when she would go to church after he died, and she was already in her 40s, by the way, at this point. So she had a baby very late. She had her babies late and everything. So she was in her 40s. Anyway, she would still walk, but she was in a deep, deep depression. And back then they did not have, medications. They didn't have anything for women that lost their children. And we all know this is probably the hardest thing anybody can go through. Anyway, because spiritual, um, my grandfather was like, you girls have to watch her when she goes to church services, because they were afraid that she was going to just jump over the bridge and to her death. She was that grief stricken. And so when she was at church, or no, maybe it wasn't in church, but months and months after the Salvi had died, and he died, um, he she claims to have seen him as an angel or a spirit or whatever, and you guys can decide if you want to believe that or not. But he was completely whole. His arm was fixed, and he was nothing wrong with him. He looked just perfect as an angel. I have a picture of him, the only picture I think that's in existence of him as a baby. And so then he came to her and he said, Mommy, you know, don't cry for me anymore. Do not be sad anymore. And she was still, how can I not be sad? You're blah, blah, blah. And he said, I'm going to give you another boy. And that is how my father was born. And so Had not had Salvi been born whole, had what's the other thing? Had they not had that accident, then um I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here. And it's very sad that we lost our my uncle, but I'm also very pleased. So anyway, my father's birthday was, I would always start off that way, December 18th. But back in those days, they kept kids and mothers in the hospital for quite some time. And when she was there, actually, it was quite a different story. Apparently, she was rather large chested. It's always brought up because so am I, right? And when she was at the hospital, they didn't have enough breast milk. This is the weird it of the story, kind of weird, but they didn't have enough breast milk to go around for all the babies. So I'm not sure if that comes into play, but apparently she was at the hospital until, because the 18th is 1 week before Christmas, so she was there for all of that week, apparently feeding all the other babies. This is what I hear. I don't know if it's true or not. But anyway, she came home with him and put my dad all swaddled up like a baby. Now remember, she's a very spiritual person, so this is, she was Catholic. This is just like my father became like a miracle baby, and my aunts just loved him, and so did my grandmother and grandfather, obviously. But so that's the story of my dad and how he was born. And later on, I will tell you about my grandmother. I mean, obviously people lose children and they have to just go on living, which she did. And kept up her daily visit to St. Benedict's Hospital. I'm sorry, St. Benedict's Catholic Church. And years later, when my father was grown, and my grandfather had passed, she went to church. She was only 71, and she died going to get communion at the church. She had a massive heart attack and died at 71. So, but still, the fact that she would go to church every day, even, I mean, just it amazes me. Even my aunt Anna, the one, oh my God, the story about what she had to do when they came home without Salvi. She had to go to my uncle would ride the train. I don't know if it was called the T back then, but he would ride the train to and from work. This is my grandfather. And so every day my and you know what? It is in December. I'm just remembering. But every day, I hope you guys don't mind me telling you my life story. It's not really my life story, but every day my aunt would walk to the train station to meet her father and carry home his whatever. I don't know what he carried home, but and her mother said, don't say anything about it. Don't wait until you get home with daddy. And they couldn't. And it was also my aunt Mary's birthday that this happened on, but my aunt Mary was the oldest and was in school, so she had come home to that. My auntie Lisa came from school or something. I don't know all the details. These people are older. And then uh so my aunt said nothing, and she was like 10 or something. She said nothing. She skipped home. I know what he had. He had a birthday cake. He had a birthday cake for my Aunt Mary. That's how I remember. It was her birthday, and he was bringing it home. Those delicious Italian bakeries, right? And I hope you guys don't mind my chattering. um, and and he he had the cake. He goes into the house to say hello to everyone. And believe it or not, they had no telephone at the time. He didn't have a car at the time. So he heard about it and he went straight to the neighbor who had the car, and they went to the hospital, and he was able to be there. She didn't go, but he was able to be there as he passed. So and you know what, that cake sat there for weeks in the dining room. They never celebrated my Aunt Mary's birthday. So that was a bad patch in my family's history, but it ended with a good thing. And I guess the reason why I'm telling you this story is my sister Teresa just came by right before this show started, and was very upset. And naturally, she should be, but she was very upset because she went for a job, was encouraged to go for a job, and she didn't get it. And she'd been working at this company for 23 years, and she was devastated. And I guess I just sort of think about my family and how resilient they are. And I know that my sister is going to continue to be a good person. A bad person might say, "Oh, and then there's my other sister texting me." A bad person might say, "Well, then screw them. I'm not going to do this job because she has to train this new person." I'm like, we're devastated, because she'll do it too, because she's that kind of a person. And my first instinct was, they don't appreciate you, Teresa. You have to maybe leave. Now, this happens in businesses everywhere. But yeah, this happens in businesses everywhere. People who have 23 years doing a job, and then they create a new job, and then they hire somebody else for that job because uh, they don't have the education. That's what she was told. Now she's got some college, but she doesn't have the whole education. So my personal feeling is, you got to leave that job. But she won't. She'll be upset about it. Maybe she'll take a day or two off, and then she'll go back in. I mean, that's just how my sister is. So I'm telling that story maybe on the off chance that she might listen. I know she doesn't listen on a regular basis, but that she should be, or maybe it's telling you guys something about the amazing ability of humans to be resilient. And there are times when you have goals, and you set these goals. I know I do it myself, and uh you don't reach them in time, or I know I'm going to end up with my 25,000 subscriber goal wish list. It's not going to happen by Christmas, but anyway. So uh I just think of my sister and how hard she worked, but I know she'll bounce back. Might take a little while, but she will bounce back. Nothing has to be devastating. Look at my grandmother, and see how resilient she was. And I mean, to move to a country and not know the language, not have the opportunity to learn, and then being such a devout Catholic and all of that. Um, oh, what happened? You like my story? What happened, Babs? Something happened to Babs? Babs, I hope you're okay. Anyway, my father grew up and he was so good to his mother. They loved her like unbelievable. And then she became a widow eventually. My father took care of her. Um, she the women in my family are extremely strong. She was a very frugal person. This is where I learned all my frugality from. And she was able to purchase a home back in 1939. It was in such bad shape, four family home, but she had it paid for through money that she saved. It's such a beautiful story. And then and then when she died, she
they all decided to give it to my father, and it was in my father's care for, I don't know, 30, 40 years. That's where I was born, and my sisters were born, and that's why I call it, that's my hometown, Somerville, Massachusetts. And then in the 70s, after my grandmother passed, my mother wanted to move, and my aunt Anna was here because her husband was a fireman, and she said, "Come on up here. But keep the house. You want to keep the house, but come up here." And so we bought a little house here in Peabody, and that's how I ended up being here. Um, so chatty Kathy over here, but I just know that something better is going to come along for my sister, something better, because she is devoted. It's her life. 23 years working there. Before that, she worked for, I don't know, 15 years at a company that kind of did her wrong too. And that was the, reason why they passed her over for another job. And she just works like she's a whirling dervish. I don't know, you guys. She came over to my house. She like on Thanksgiving, the day before Thanksgiving, she's like vacuuming and cleaning the house and all this stuff. I'm like, it's just gonna be your two friends and us, right? She's like, no, I just want to get it all nice and clean for mom and everything, and she did that, and we had a lovely Thanksgiving. I did all the cooking, but then or actually her boyfriend brought a ham and green bean casserole, because she says to me, "I think I'll ask him to make green bean casserole because, well, yours isn't very good." I'm like, that's fine. There are two things that I don't do very well with holiday Thanksgiving meals, and that is I don't do gravy very well. So sometimes I'll just fake it with the gravy. I do pies great. I do cranberry sauce great, and the turkey always comes out lovely. But gravy is just not my strong suit, nor are like traditional sides like green bean casserole. We never ate green bean casserole, so as kids, I don't think my mother was much of a cook, so we would just have regular stuff, you know. It turned out great when he changed jobs. I'm so, so glad. Oh, Cheryl, the town was taken over. He joined the army. I love all these stories, people. I love them all. Oh, I wish I could read them all, but I'm, committed to getting this done for Shirley. And yeah, so that's kind of the story of my family. And my sister is just, she's lived through quite a bit. And uh and I want her to do well. I care about her. I love her. And I want her to be happy. And this would have, I think, made her happy. But when I went for a job before, and I was kind of devastated because you say you're not going to make it a big deal, but you do, right? And my sister is the queen of not making things a big deal. Like she wants it to be like everything happens, you know what I mean? Like it's all going to work out for people. If it's not good, if it's not at the end, I mean, if it's not good at the end, then it's not the end, sort of thing. That's sort of, I think, our motto is like, bad things don't happen to you willy-nilly. There's supposed to be signs to change. That's how my family looks at that. So that's why probably I am so positive about my cancer, because I know that I live, first of all, in one of the best places in the world, Boston, Massachusetts, and I actually see the best oncologists in the world. Um, and that science has fixed itself where you can live for decades even if you have a cancer diagnosis. And that to me is comforting, because I think, all right, I'll take these pills and I'll get these shots and I'll change my life, because it's a warning. So I have to change my lifestyle. Okay. So I don't drink and I don't smoke or do drugs or anything. So what's left? Well, exercise and moderation in eating. And so I've already done some of the eating moderation stuff, but I'm not exercising. I need to be exercising more. But that's my role. And the doctor's role is to find a way to keep the cancer at bay. And I know that they will. And that's why I have a positive attitude. Homemade baked beans. Uh oh, I have a wonderful baked bean recipe. There's a restaurant, or was a restaurant here in Boston, called Durgan Park. You may have heard of it. If not, look it up. Durgin. Durgan Park. That's what it's called. Not even Durgan Park Restaurant. And it was the Durgans and the Parks um, came together and put together this sort of cafeteria style restaurant. It was very popular because prices were good, and a lot of the guys, that worked at Haymarket, which was, or still is, the like fruit fruit and vegetable stands that my grandmother would go and take the train to go to the fruits and vegetables, or my grandfather actually did it for her too. So anyway, they would come off of their shift or whatever, and they just want a hearty meal, and they would go to Durgan Park. And Durgan Park had all the old New England favorites. So they had scrod and baked beans and what else did they have? Scrod, baked beans, Yankee pot roast, uh, a corn pudding called Indian pudding. They had a lot of these kinds of recipes. So, and that was very famous. And they even had their own bean pots and everything. So they would make beans that people could take to go and all that. I have one of their bean pots. Anyway, they closed a few years back. But before they closed, I got their baked bean recipe, and I usually make them at least twice a year. I'm going to have to show you next time I do it, all right? They have a way to cure most cancers, right? So I'm not completely far-fetched about this, right? Now, all right, guys, I finished this up. I'm pretty sure you could see as I was working what I was doing. So there's holly and Jolly. And if Shirley's here today, and she is, and since she's getting this, I have to ask you, Shirley, there are these little doodads to put on here. Do you want doodads, or do you not want doodads? Because I do doodads. Doodad away, or what do you think? Is Shirley, Shirley, do you want doodads or no doodads? I'm going to wait for her response. I think she could hear me in a second. So these are the doodads. So there are two different color. Let me show you. There's these ribbons, which I put the little bow part of the ribbon right on a pop dot. So it looks like that. Yes, do the doodads. Okay. I'll do the doodads. And so there are these little ribbons. And then there are these two different greens. I chose that green from the holiday section. And then there are these little berries. So there's ribbon, and then there's these letters. So let's go ahead and put those on. I think that's enough as far as the ribbons don't go on every letter, but I could make it so the ribbons go on. Yes, go for the doodads. Okay. All right. So apparently it's a little different. You can look at the original, you can look at your original design if you're going to be very particular about the doodads. And you can decide, which is what I'm trying to do over here. Then you can decide, let's get rid of all this. And this and this and this and this. I'm sorry. I know I'm not showing you my screen, but I'm just looking for my original group. Here it is. So it says that I need to put a, not everything. So the letter L has the leaves right here in the corner. So let's do that. Leaf. Let's do it this way. Leaf and leaf and that. So what we're going to do. And the O has that with leaves. All right. And the Y has a bow. So use the bow for that one. And a leaf. And J. What do we need for J? J is just holly. All right. So we're going to just glue them on, which is what I did. And they will stick. But if you wanted to, you could use your glue gun for this part if you're afraid it's going to fall off, but it will stick. And then the O will put these two leaves here. And they look like the same leaves on there. So, and then the holly, no, the ribbon, the bow. Shirley, I hope I'm not making too much of a mess of your banner. The doodads make it pop? Yeah, they do, right? Oh, very nice. Thank you for encouraging me. Anyway, so that's my whole life story, guys. Not actually my life story, but my family's story. And mine is as unique as everyone else's. Someday I'll tell you the whole story. But yeah. So if you find it in your heart to pray for my sister, her name is Teresa. And I'm sure she would appreciate all of the. Uh, we need burl eyes in the background. Um, awesome. You love it, Shirley, with the doodads? Yes, you're right. We need special, and we're getting close to the top of the hour. And I get sentimental. I get sentimental, you guys. So thank you for listening. And if you don't like it, you probably have turned it off by now, or turned off at least the noise, me talking. You can just watch me do it. Um, but I'm just going to do a couple more of these, and then what I'll show you is how to string it up. Okay, so this is baker's twine, but it's fancy baker's twine. Normally I buy baker's twine like this, and I cannot stand when little craft companies will give you like 2 yards of something. I mean, I'm buying the big roll. So this is called 12 ply. And you can buy this in a variety of colors. This is baker's twine. And this is also baker's twine, but it's metallic. So it's not nearly as thick. So I do use a needlepoint needle. They're usually the big one, to string up my garland. And then I just fold it like that and get it through here. Sometimes it's not that easy. And then there was somebody, I don't know if it was Pat May or somebody, who said, uh, you need a threader. And I'm like, you're darn right I need a threader. I don't know how they work, but I need one. All right. So this is how I do it. You can do it differently if you want. And I'll go back and do the doodads. Okay. So I usually go through the front like this. I start at the back and I go through the front like this, so that way I kind of can control the amount of string that I'm using, and if I need more I can get more. And then I come up through the back, and the reason I do that is that I don't want the string to show. You don't have to do it my way, you can do it the other way, but I just don't like the string showing. And you're going to just go ahead, and I think surely I will make this into uh one whole piece, and you can decide if you want to cut it in half. Okay, so if you have enough of your string, and by the way, if you're worried that it's going to move, my tip is just to turn over the once it's strong, and put a little piece of tape right here. Okay, and that way when you go to take it down you don't have the shifting, if that's what you want to do. So technically you should, these will last you a very long time. It's nice and thick, and you're stringing it well and everything. um Unless you have a dog like mine who decides they're going to take off with all your stuff. So that's it. Oh, you're going to have the whole thing. All right, I'm going to give you the whole thing together. And yeah, Saturday on Zoom. um and show I will come on Saturday. Oh, Pat's telling me it was Pat. Okay, so Pat's telling me I do need a needle threader, and she's going to show me how it works on the Zoom. So thanks for reminding me about the Zoom. So every month, if you're new to us, every month we wrong. So every month or so, we used to do it every month, but life gets in the way, you know. And so we get together as a group on a Zoom. And the next one is for uh, this Saturday at 7 o'clock. All right, guys. And so if you want to join in, you you can join in. Anybody can join in. But because we've had some issues in the past with people crashing, trolls really, we are going to we're going to let's see, we're going to post the link late. I usually post it in my group and Patreon. So if you're a patron on Patreon, I will post it on Patreon. And then we'll get together, and I love getting together, but these ladies can talk, man. They're used to me, like they're used to me talking, but I got to tell you, these ladies can talk. We've been up, I don't want to say just ladies, because we've been up, we've had other people that have come along, but it's mostly ladies. And we talk about everything. We talk about inflation. We talk about crafts. We talk about problems that we're having. It's so lovely, and it's very healing. And you just, if you want to join in, you're welcome to. And we'd love to have you. It's great. We've had like close to 40, 50 people on at one time. And this actually came out of um, the pandemic, something we did for the pandemic on New Year's Eve in 2021. So we've been doing this for a couple of years now, and it's really just, it's a godsend. It's been a godsend for me. I've made friends, so many friends through this, that it's just fabulous. Okay, so here is our holly jolly with some doodads. I will go back and put the other doodads on these ones. But what do you guys think? Candle doesn't have a chance with us. um Oh, you made 17 in last night's birthday Zoom. Where did you go to a birthday Zoom? Where'd you go to a birthday Zoom? I want to know. We sh- you know, maybe we should do something for our patrons on Patreon that's special for them. I know Loretta would encourage me to do that. Somebody said you could leave the Zoom on and people can just come in, and I want to learn how to do that, because some days I'm like just having a day. It's usually after I do a great show and maybe I've spilled my guts or whatever, and I don't want to leave you. And so I want for Holly does it. I want for to be able to reach out and talk to somebody, but everybody's working during the day. So I just kind of sit by myself and listen to the news or whatever while I'm crafting. But I would love it if we could do something. Got to get back to these doodads. Anyway, that's it for me. Everyone. I hope you enjoyed my stories and gee, and my talking, and I'm sure somebody's gonna say that on YouTube because they can't keep it to themselves. um but I that's what I do, and a lot of people keep telling me, no, keep going, we want you to. So there you go. All right, everyone, have a lovely. I will check with Holly Klein. Yeah, because I just would like 6 a.m. is way too early. Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do something. You could make a flag without a letter as a space between. Diana! Oh my God, I never thought about that. So, all right, if you're going to try this, again, remember that I have it on my community. And I'm sorry I'm stuffed up. I don't know what it is, allergies or something. So if you go to my community, which you can get there from homepage, or you can see your own if you go up here to where your face is and it says view profile. And then you can click on followers and see who's following me. I only got one follow. How did that happen? Tanya Fisher is following me. Thank you for following me, Tanya. Guys, we give away. I don't even know what to tell you. I want the people that have received these gifts now to show us online or something. And if you get it by Friday, because I did mail them, if you get it by Friday or Saturday, maybe you can bring it if you're one of the winners and you're coming to the Zoom. Okay. All right, everybody. Um, that's it for me. I hope you have a lovely day. And let's talk about it on Saturday. Yeah, okay, Jalen. We can. Yeah. I know. She's my sister is she's my best friend, and she's just the best worker. I mean, she just works like crazy. And why is having experience less than having an education? I don't understand that. We complain about the cost of education, and then we don't, or we complain that not everybody has to go to college. Like my son doesn't want to go to college, and I'm like, oh, is he gonna end up with a situation like this, like my sister? It's just not fair. So anyway, Shirley, I have your address, but you do well in telling me it again. So send me an email at missritatotherescue@gmail.com. All right, everybody, have a great day, and I will see you again tomorrow. We're going to be doing an Anna Griffin card tomorrow. Okay? Take care, everybody. Take care of yourself. See you later. Bye bye.